This week was by far the most embarrassing week on the road so far for me. I've spent the last couple of days debating whether or not I want to tell this story or how much of this story that I want to tell. The comment section can be a ruthless place. But after a week of reflecting on everything, I've decided that yes, I will in fact tell the story of the night that I shot myself in the face with bear spray. Yes, it really happened, and every single time that I think about it, I start laughing. And as a guy that I matched with on Hinge once said, if I can provide any serotonin in this economy, I should. I can't believe that last night happened.
911, where's your emergency?
On a less dramatic note, this week we got to further explore a part of the country that never fails to leave me feeling a little too at home. Maybe one day I'll own a little piece of land here, but for now, to be able to travel through the Northern Rockies for a few weeks every year on my way to Washington is almost good enough. Almost. It's really hard to leave this area. Dude, it's kind of hysterical. Whenever I meet new people who learn that I live in a van, they're always like, you must have so many crazy stories. And to be honest, my only crazy stories have to do with getting stuck. I'm really scared that I'm gonna be stuck right now, so welcome to my journey. We're in... Should I even try to talk right now, or should I just try to focus? I'm gonna talk because I'm nervous. We are in Montana. We made it to Montana. We left Wyoming, and we're in Montana. The land of bears and hawks and all the other wild creatures. This is the part that I'm slightly concerned about. Okay. I'm aware. We did it. Oh my gosh. During the week that I was around West Yellowstone, the area was hit with a massive storm that led to an unprecedented amount of flooding. In the aftermath of the storm, all the dirt roads in the area were hit or miss, and so on this day, I only made it about 2 miles before I decided that enough was enough. I just pulled over onto a bed of wildflowers and called it my home for the night. I think tonight, I'm just going to lay low and take a bunch of astrophotography shots because that's what sounds nice. And it's also the night of the full moon, so there's that. The one thing that I'm not that big of a fan of this year that I didn't really notice last year because I wasn't doing astrophotography ever last year is just how late you have to stay up to be able to shoot the stars, because like you can't just shoot the stars right when the sun goes down. You have to like wait. Anyways, 25 seconds. Is that correct? Yeah, it is. And then find a little star if there is a star. Here it is. Okay, spot number 1, there's no stars. So I'm gonna move. I think I'm gonna go and point it. Oh, this is pretty. Okay, location number 2, I've decided is pretty enough, and I really want to go back inside. So I'm gonna set this for 198 photos, and I'll be back at like 1 a.m. Okay, run back to the van. Ah. So the whole time that I'd been outside, I had bear spray in one hand. Let me grab my bear spray for reference. Being outside right after dusk, I was holding my bear spray very tightly. When the time lapse began, I ran back to the van, and as soon as the door shut behind me, I reached to put my bear spray back in its home, which at the time was this plastic holster that had come with the bear spray when I purchased it. 1 minute I was standing in my van, and the next I was outside on all fours. If I had been traveling with a partner or something, I think I could have avoided most, if not all, of what happened next, but I was not traveling with a partner. I was alone in my van, and I was in a forest with no other rigs in sight. So I was scared. It was mostly when I just couldn't breathe. Like I couldn't breathe and I felt like I was gonna fall asleep. The fear only lasted for like 3 minutes. In those 3 minutes, I decided to, hey Siri, 911. No, don't call 911 right now, please. Pretty much as soon as I got connected to the dispatcher, I stopped feeling like I was going to faint, and that is when the burn began. Ah, geez, did it burn. My face, my eyes, my nose. I was a blubbery, teary-eyed, snotting mess. The dispatcher made a couple of calls, said an officer was on the way, and hung up. The minute that I figured out that I could, walk around and kind of see, I started doing so because I knew that I needed to get, my in order. And I also needed to make sure that Finn was okay. Thank God he was. Finn is not a part of this story. If he had been a part of this story, it would not be a funny story. I guess something about the way that I had put the bear spray back in its holster had simultaneously managed to take off the plastic safety and pull the trigger. Now, thankfully, when the trigger was pulled, it wasn't pointing at my face. That would have been awful, like genuinely awful. Instead, it sprayed directly onto my headliner, and then I got like the backsplash. By the time the officer showed up, I was a giggling mess. I have been laughing hysterically about the situation pretty much since it happened. The officer was really nice. His name was Ray. I kept going back and forth between being able to open my eyes and then not being able to open my eyes because they would start burning again. And so he basically just poured water all over me and my face until the paramedics showed up. We went through so much water that I started joking about how this was my shower for the week. This is my shower for the week. Then the ambulance did arrive. They basically brought me into the rig and just continued to pour water on me. They were mostly concerned about my eyes, but I wasn't. At this point, I was frankly concerned that the burn wasn't going to go away. I think I asked, like, will this last hours or days? To which one of them replied, well, sometimes there's lasting effects. I also asked if this happened often, and I don't know if they were just saying it to make me feel better or not, but they did say that it happens more often than you'd think, so I don't know. Eventually the burning actually did subside. I started to feel normal again, and maybe an hour or so after the whole thing started, I was right back alone in my van, the only rig in the forest. I can't believe that last night happened. For a long time last night, for like a couple of hours, I was just giggling hysterically every like 10 minutes because how ridiculous. How absolutely ridiculous. Phineas, how do you feel about today? I think it's gonna be hot today. Which is kind of crazy because a couple of days ago it was snowing, so. Oh, it's so beautiful here. I didn't go very far. The van's like right there. Last night when I was talking to the police officer, I kind of used it as an excuse to like ask about grizzlies and all the whole thing. Apparently there are more grizzlies sightings this year than normal, and so suffice to say, I'm not going very far. Also, if bad things come in threes, I am kind of waiting for that third shoe to drop, and I really don't want to give the universe the opportunity to let that third thing be a grizzly bear, so yeah. Not 5 minutes after I said that, my inverter started having issues. Now, 2 years ago, that would have sent me into a full-blown panic, but I think the biggest lesson the van life has taught me is that everything that can go wrong will eventually go wrong, and all you can do is focus on the things you can control. I know it sounds weird, but after everything that I've gone through on the road, I was just really grateful that everything that had happened, from the bumpy roads, the flooding, the snow, the thunderstorms, the bear spray, even this issue with my inverter, nothing that had happened would cause lasting impacts on my life, my van life, or my wallet. And for all of that, I could already see that I was extremely lucky. And so this morning I decided to keep moving forward, and I drove out to a lake that I've heard a few people refer to as the Bahamas of Montana.
Dear Jesus, forgive me. I'm only doing as I was told.
Finn and I are sitting here at this lake. It is so flippin' gorgeous. I don't know why, today just feels so like a vacation. Sometimes in the van I feel like I'm just living in a van just like I lived in a house. Like there's nothing really necessarily special about the day-to-day life, but then every so often you have one of those days that's just the weather is perfect, the people are everywhere. You just feel like you're on vacation, and today is one of those days. It's, oh my god, a bee. I saw a bald eagle on my way here just playing with the wind. It was so crazy to see, actually. At first I was like, how cool would it be if that bird that's just dancing in the wind was a bald eagle? And then as I drove by, I was able to see that it was in fact a bald eagle, and that was just, it was a moment, okay? I'm having a moment with this whole solo travel thing again right now. I don't know. Even though last night happened, I just feel very at peace. I don't know. So I don't have very much to eat, and that is because there was a massive storm in the area. It was like 3 days of a really bad rainstorm that ended up flooding West Yellowstone. We were here during that, and so I've only gone into town once, and on that day I stocked up on water, but the grocery store was so expensive that I decided to just skip buying food. I thought that I was going to be going into a bigger town, but then the next day it snowed, and I found myself stuck for a couple of days. I'm telling you, this week has been something else. I did manage to buy pancake mix. I forgot to put olive oil. Oh my gosh. No, just come on, work with me. I think if I have any takeaways from this week, I would say, number 1, sometimes life on the road is just plain a lot. 2, sometimes you have no choice but to be stronger than you want to be, stronger than you think you are for weeks at a time. 3, ambulances are really cozy. And 4, holy sh*, bear spray is a solid weapon.
And where's home?
Home is technically Monterey, I guess, but I live on the road full time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So are you one of these bloggers or something?